Hey everybody, what's up? Zambash here. I know it's been a real long time since an upload, and I never did get around to making a build guide for that Rage Vortex Berserker last week. Things just got busy, things got away. I'd gotten married recently before that, so life's been really busy. Crazy noises you hear in the dog background. There's my dog hacking. She doesn't chew her food, so she's always just like choking afterwards. But I am going to be playing 327. I'm thinking that the new Breach rework looks pretty cool. I'm a little disappointed by the patch notes overall. I was kind of hoping there would be more in the way of larger sweeping balance changes to shake up the meta a little more, but not really as much as I was thinking there would be based on language leading up to it. But regardless, I think the new league, new old league, looks pretty cool. And I have decided that I am going to league start with Bladefall of Impaling, which is one of the gems that did get buffed this time around. I still don't think it's really going to be a particularly strong build, but it's just a build I've wanted to do for quite a while. But even at the 10 base crit, I felt like I couldn't really justify it. It just didn't seem worthwhile. But with 15 base crit, I'm going to give it a shot this time. It'll get off the ground and running really easily. I don't think it'll really scale super well, but I'm going to try to min-max it a bit. So we are going to go Bladefall of Impaling. We are going to do it as a Hierophant. I'm going to start the early leveling with just typical rolling magma into Firestorm and Armageddon brand. Up through probably most of the campaign. Can't really switch to Bladefall of Impaling until you get the gem and you get an Ungol's Harmony amulet to get you all the crit chance that you need to cap out. So once I get an Ungol's Harmony and I get the Bladefall of Impaling gem, ideally with some quality, and as soon as I have the Cruel Lab done, I will make the switch to Bladefall of Impaling. We are going to go for Arcane Blessing on the first lab just because it's super duper strong. Then we'll go for Conviction of Power on the second lab. Those power charges plus Ungol's Harmony and then just a little more crit elsewhere will get us to 100% crit, so we'll always be Impaling. And the plan is, as soon as I am able, I will grab a couple of Cold Iron points. Those will be the next things to grab after the Ungol's Harmony. Obviously, this is just a super skeleton of a build idea here because I don't really POB things out fully before playing them, because then I think it makes playing them kind of pointless. But anyways, we will start with Cold Iron points and dual wield those, and we'll do some dual wield nodes. And then eventually the long-term plan for the endgame, we're going to be doing several things here. We are going to be going into a shield rather than dual wielding, and we'll get 75-75 block with glancing blows. And we'll use a shaper life gain on block shield, obviously. We're going to be going pain attunement, and I'll be using Coward's Legacy to get to that. And I'll be tattooing a bunch of reduced curse effectiveness on myself, and using the Yugal Pantheon. And then this node gives increased effective consecrated ground, which also gives reduced curse effect on you. And eventually I will be using a Rational Doctrine unique jewel from Uber Cortex to give me both consecrated ground and profane ground. With the profane ground plus some other things, I will be able to crit cap relatively easily without using Ungol's Harmony. And we will go into an Ashes of the Stars for the late game. Bladefall of Impaling gets a huge amount of impale effect from quality, so Ashes of the Stars is super strong for it. Yeah, we're going to be going Eldritch Battery, and then I am going to use Power of Purpose, which will turn most of my mana into a bunch of armor, which is pretty nice just on its own. But then sort of the main reason we're doing that is because that will give us a super tiny mana pool. So then we can use Righteous Fire of Arcane Devotion, and it will hardly do any fire damage to us, so we can really easily out-regen it. to always have that more cast speed bonus. For the final ascendancy point, I'm going to use the new feral one that summons the tigers for extra crit chance and attack and cast speed. That plus profane ground plus the 200% from conviction of power. After those things, I will only need just one even crafted level of crit chance on a weapon to cap out the crit. For a long time, I will still just be using one of the cold iron points with a shield, because obviously for a pure fizz skill it takes a pretty hefty wand to beat a cold iron point, but eventually we'll go for a +1 all spells, +1 fizz spells with the spell crit and cast speed and whatever else I can sneak in there, ideally spell damage as well. Like, it definitely is possible to make a wand that is going to beat out the cold iron point overall eventually, but it will take quite some doing to get there. So for quite a while it's going to be the cold iron point. That'll realistically probably be one of the very last things I replace, is going for a wand to replace that. But the build has quite a bit of room for scaling. I just don't think the skill is really that strong even with the buff, but it's just something I've wanted to play for a while, so I'm going to do it. We're using Spiritual Aid. Gives us a good amount of extra damage we can pick up nearby, and like helmets now are being changed, so Essence of Fear gives minion damage, and gloves Essence of Fear gives minion damage, so doing those plus some temple chill damage mod, like there will be a lot of good ways to pick up some extra damage around scaling the minion stuff. The small node on the way to that new feral ascendancy gives 25% minion damage as well, so that's a good pickup. Gonna slot in a Light of Meaning, of course, over here with physical damage. I've got quite a lot of nodes in radius, so that'll give a nice damage boost. We're eventually gonna get a Watcher's Eye, of course, with the extra impales on it. Dog's getting whiny here. She probably wants to go out after dinner. But yeah, Militant Faith for Power of Purpose. With these nodes, plus Illuminated Devotion, will be immune to Chill and Shock. Brine King will give us immunity to Freeze. Don't care so much about immunity to Ignite. And of course this gives us AoE and Life Leech as well. We'll pick up an extra curse, so we're on like Vulnerability and Punishment, or perhaps Vulnerability and Poacher's Mark. Poacher's Mark, of course, not amazing for spells, because neither the life and mana gain on hit nor the flat physical damage actually apply to spells, but I would just be using it purely for Frenzy Charge generation on bosses, because I don't really have another good way to go for Frenzy Charge on bosses. I don't think I want to use like a Redeemer chest going for Frenzy Charge on hit. I feel like you're missing out on too much with the Eldritch Implicits these days. Most of the time to be going for other influences, but this is basically what I'm planning. Going to be kind of standard Eldritch Battery setup. Having the tiny mana pool from Power of Purpose also means we can really easily use a max level Divine Blessing plus more duration support to run an extra aura, and I'm going to run Haste. My main reservations are going to be Pride and Determination and Skitterbots with Unbound Ailments, and then I sneak in just a little level 1 Precision to get a little more of the crit chance that I need. And then yeah, I'll run Haste as an extra aura on Divine Blessing. So I think we'll be pretty darn speedy between the 35% attack and cast speed from Farrell, and a Silver Flask, and the Haste aura, and a little bit on the tree as well, and then all of the Arcane Surge scaling from Arcane Blessing on the Hierophant as well gives us a good amount of cast speed. So it'll be really quick, and you know, by the time we get Awakened Spell Cascade with the 30% AoE on Illuminated Devotion, that'll pretty much hit the entire screen with Bladefall, so it should be good clear. I just don't really know how well the damage is going to scale for single target, but I aim to find out, and I'm trying to eke out everything I can with Pain Attunement and Righteous Fire of Arcane Devotion. So those are my league start plans, as usual, going for something very non-meta and experimental, and hopefully it'll work out. I will do some brief update videos. I don't know that I can really promise full-length, heavily edited build guides at this point like I was planning to do with the Rage Vortex of Berserking. life is just too busy for that kind of thing for me when I'm not trying to make this into a job or a source of income or anything. But hopefully you'll enjoy whatever content I do manage to put out. Thank you guys who stop by and chat and express support. It really means a lot to me. I've met some pretty cool people here that I have some good discussions with pretty much every league when we hop back into PoE. So hope to see some of you guys again this time around. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in Rayclast.